Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on YouTube. Just to remind you, Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media for the latest and greatest in anime gear. Everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed artwork. Be sure to check out homecirclemedia.com. I can hear myself in the background.
Oh, can you hear it through mine?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, I'll figure this out. Technical difficulties.
And just to remind you, Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by homecirclemedia.com. Be sure to check them out at a convention near you. Or on their website at homecirclemedia.com. And that, I'm not sure if the sound is coming through my end or...
Okay. I have headphones now. I don't know if that's helping.
Okay, let me see if I can figure things, because it's still happening, which I haven't had that happen before. So let's see. Let me remove myself and put myself back in. This is our first time having technical difficulties. Okay, let's see if that works. So let's see. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
All right. I still can hear myself, so it might get a little distracting. I don't know
saw
if I'm
there's...
picking up.
Okay, when I click on cam/mic, under audio, there's a echo cancellation option. I don't know if you have that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I have the echo cancellation picked.
A mystery.
So let's see. This is weird. I can still hear myself, but let's roll with it.
Okay.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Anime-Zing Radio. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining us in the co-host seat is our good friend, Mr. Darren Starling. He is currently driving home from work.
Hello.
And we are excited to have our guest of honor tonight, Miss Macy Ann Johnson, an extremely talented voice actress who joined us on our last show with Hazy Radio with our Mashumaira special. And Macy, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be back.
And it has been a lot of fun with that special we did. And it was, from a fan standpoint, it was really cool to have you and all the other girls on for Mashumaira. How have things been for you, knowing with How On and how things went with her? And the sound is still going crazy.
I'm so sorry. That's so weird. But for me, I'm hoping there's a new season out in Japanese, so I'm hoping someday we get to dub that. Very exciting stuff. But I've seen a couple episodes in the Japanese, and it looks really good. More of the show by rock goodness and cuteness and all the best things it's known for. And music is really good. I saw there was like a new Mashumaira song on Spotify the other day, so it was pretty good. I listened.
And I finally figured out what the issue was. It was on my end. Because I had the link open for the show, I was hearing everything back on delay. So that's my fault.
You're fine. Oh my gosh, I'm glad you figured it out, though.
I'm like, wait, I have two tabs that are showing sound. That's not right.
No, I do that all the time.
And because of hearing myself, I got totally sidetracked. So for all of you who are just tuning in, I'm sorry if you're like, what the hell am I watching? But for those of you who don't know Macy, why don't you, Macy, you tell everybody a little bit about yourself? Good God, I've done this before, I swear.
No, I am Macy. I've been voice acting, I guess, for a little over 4 years now. Yeah, one of my more recent things was Hoenn in Show by Rock, which was awesome. Some of my other bigger roles are Swindler in Akudama Drive and Chiyuki in Smile Down the Runway. Right now, I'm Shota in Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S, which I love Dragon Maid, so that was super exciting.
Now, with Dragon Maid's return, especially after the tragedy that they had in Japan, how does it feel to be a part of such an iconic series? And that first episode back, they made a statement with that fight scene between Toru and Iruru.
Mm-hmm. The animation is beautiful, which of course is to be expected from their company. But yeah, I am so excited to be a part of it. I watched the first season of Dragon Maid when I was in high school, and it was just like automatically one of my favorites. I'm such a fan. I love like the slice of life, feeling, and especially with the fantasy of the dragons. It's so fun.
Oh yeah. And Toru is adorable. Kana, I think, is the cutest one. Kana's little friend there scares me, though.
Yeah, fair.
Now, as being Shota, you summoned, or your character had summoned in this really crazy dragon.
Mm-hmm.
How has it been to go opposite of Lukua? And have there been moments when you're recording as Shota being like, man, I don't know how I would have handled this if I was actually there?
Oh my gosh, if I was actually Shota, I would have ran away. So way before, I would have been gone. But he's super silly and reacts to everything in such a goofy way, like calling her bad demon and such. So I relate to his goofiness, his quirkiness, maybe.
And I don't know don't remember exactly how far Funimation has gotten. I see 5 episodes have been dropped on the site thus far, but I know, and this may, spoiler alert for those of you who have not seen it thus far, but Shota's dad is actually Kobayashi's boss.
I know, isn't that so random?
Which was really, really random twist in the series. And then I just watched the most recent episode in Japanese today, and it was more serious and more like real.
Which episode is that? Series. Was it?
I think it was 11.
Oh, nice.
I have to remember.
You're right.
It is 11.
Mm-hmm. Because unfortunately, this season is almost over. Believe it or not.
I know, that's sad.
I know it's gone by so quick. So many good shows this season. At 2020 left a lot of people with question marks about how anime world was going to continue, things of that nature. 2021, winter and spring started off like a ball of fire. Summer died down a little bit, but they brought Kobayashi out. The Great Jahi is another fantastic anime. I got sucked into Drugstore from Another World.
Slime Part 2.
Oh, yeah.
Still haven't started Slime Part 2. Don't yell at me. But we have planned on at some point watching that. The problem was they screwed up on my wife's schedule this weekend, and she got stuck working last night and tonight, so we have been unable to watch anything.
Sounds familiar.
You know what that's like, Darren, working in the food industry as well.
Yeah, that's why I refuse to close.
And other great characters that you've done, Macy, and I didn't realize that you were a part of it. I'm a huge fan of the Strike Witches franchise, and you are in World Witches Takeoff.
Yeah, that one's super recent.
It's Fernandia, if I remember correctly. What was it like playing a character in this amazing? Like, I love the franchise. The history behind it is unbelievable. The more I looked into it.
Yeah, when I found out I was cast in it, I didn't know much about the franchise, so I did some research, watched some clips and such, and it was really a fun session. What's the right word? It's like so like I guess cartoony for an anime, you know? Like their emotions are so big and they're so loud for lack of a better word. But it was really fun to get to play a character that was, you know, kind of brash, very big. It was a good time.
And
I thought it was mine. No, wait, that was Contact Collection. Sorry, I'm getting Contact Collection and Striking Witches mixed up.
That's the problem when you watch. For us, when we watch so many animes, I know Darren and myself are probably over 300 animes apiece, and I'm sure in your case you've worked on many animes from small roles to big names like Hawan and everybody. So sometimes I'm sure it gets tough for you to remember everybody.
Oh yeah, I get shows confused a bunch.
And you were talking about being in Smile Down the Runway. I have to say, in all honesty, I almost didn't watch this show because in my mind, I thought it was going to be one of those next top model type anime type shows in anime form. But man, I'm so glad I sat down and watched it. The series was fantastic.
I love Smile Down the Runway. It's cool because it like follows the shonen arc of a show. You know, you see them like leveling up, and then they go to the fashion shows, which are, you know, the tournament pieces, and it's really cool how it uses this, you know, not so traditional shonen subject matter, but uses that format. I'm such a fan of Smile Down the Runway.
And you got to play the main model in the show. I had to look up. I'm like, I know the name, but I can't remember. It's been so long and too many shows in between. But when you were voicing her, did you feel any connection with her or any similarities?
Totally. She's really interesting because she comes from like she should be able to be this model, right? Her dad owns the company. They're very wealthy. She could get anything she wanted pretty much, except she's too short. So like the one thing she wants is the only thing she can't control. And I really respect her in that despite her not being able to, you know, grow taller, she gets what she wants and she like fights for herself and getting herself in the right room. She's just very driven, and I think I respect that. She's a cool character.
It was a really neat perspective to see inside the world of modeling, which I think for the average person, especially somebody like myself, who I've seen some of the America's Next Top Models because of my ex-wife liked the show. And so I had little idea of what some of the stuff was they had to go through. I knew that usually height was a big factor, and so many factors in that world that I will never understand. But the fact that they also added in the fashion side of it, not just the modeling, with the other main character where he's aspiring to be a designer. And that was a twist I didn't see coming at first.
Yeah, and I love that despite that they're like, she's a model, he's a designer, they're still each other's rivals and that they're still like competing with each other. I think it really bridges it all together. I love that competition.
And I know, Darren, that I've told you needed to check it out, but your work schedule, I think, had prevented you from seeing it up to this point. And
there's always time.
Always time once you
the
drop
time
the
is
day
now.
job. As soon as he leaves the food industry and focuses on his business, he'll be golden. But now, as other shows that you have been a part of, and I was scrolling through the Anime News Network because I have learned over time, as much as behind the voice actors is great because they show the picture of the characters, a lot of times they're wrong. So I have learned to just go to ANN and search that way. And the names I don't recognize, I just kind of Google the picture. But
nice.
You were in a show called The Helpful Fox Senko-san.
Yeah, I was.
That is one of the most adorable shows I have seen in a long time.
Right. It's so cute. And it reminds me a lot of Dragon Maid.
It does. And the fact Senko, like we had a little game that we played a while back. I would name 10 different anime characters, and Darren had to guess their age. Senko was one I put out there.
She's old.
And he got it right.
Nice.
Because she's 800. And
Yeah.
good evening to Mario. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Hello to everybody out there who's tuning in over on the YouTube side of things. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Once we hit 200 subscribers, we're doing a giveaway where one lucky fan gets to join us on the air for a voice actor interview. So you get to come on, hang out with us, and talk with one of your favorite voice actors that we'll be lucky enough to have join us on the show. Maybe it'll be Macy in the future. If we hit it before next week, it could be Anthony. Who knows? And now, what made you want to get into voice acting? Is it something you've always wanted to do, or something that you were fascinated with? Or
I've been doing like stage acting and theater since I was pretty little, like middle school, and I love it. I still do that. That's what my major. I'm in college, and that's what my major is in stage acting. But I started watching anime, and I was about like in 8th grade, I want to say, and I was totally like in love with it, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I kind of grew up on American cartoons, especially like SpongeBob and Jimmy Neutron were my favorites. So I looked up like the anime voice actors, and once I kind of realized that that was a thing, I was like, okay, I want to do that thing. Like, it's still acting that I love, but it's so specific, and so that's really cool. It's like, yeah, I just found out it was an option, and I said I need to do that.
did you ever think that you would find yourself voicing not just in anime, but main characters, important roles in shows?
I've been so lucky in the roles that I've received, and I could never have guessed in like a million years when I was, in 8th grade watching anime for the first time that I could play roles like the ones I was watching.
And a question that has come in from the chat room, Mario says, question for Macy, how did you end up in Akudama Drive? What was the casting audition process like?
Yeah, so Akudama Drive was cast by Kocha Sounds, is the studio that I went through, and it was directed by Brittany Latta, who is freaking amazing. But the audition process was pretty much like most of them are, especially there used to be times when we go into the studio to audition, but nowadays it's, for me at least, it's mostly sides coming in that we record on our laptops, send off. So yeah, I got the sides, and I really liked the character of Swindler. I watched the first episode of the show, and I was like, okay, I'll read for Swindler, and I did, and it turned out well. But yeah, it was pretty typical audition casting process, but I'm so thankful for it. I love Akudama Drive.
That's a series that I have not seen yet.
It's really, really intense. It's very high in action and all that good, like very like cyberpunky. I love it. It's so exciting.
Have you seen that one, Darren?
Nope. It's on my list. I know several YouTubers talked about it as an underrated series.
It is.
It kind of flew under the radar.
It did.
But almost every review that I've seen people leave about it has been more or less positive. So.
Mm-hmm.
Mario yelling at me, get on that now. I can't, I'm on the air. Maybe after the show.
After the show. It's really good. It's one of the, like, out of a lot of the stuff I've done, this is the most proud of something I've been, is Akudama Drive. Or, like, top 5 proudest things. I love it.
Now, having a background in theater, did that help you with getting How-On and Show by Rock? You felt comfortable singing as her? And
it was, I've done like musical theater, and I take voice lessons through my school and stuff, so I'm used to singing. What made Hoenn tricky was that she's in this super stylized anime character voice, so it was maintaining that voice when I was singing was kind of like a learning curve, but it turned out, yeah, I was super thankful for my theater background, trying to figure all that stuff out.
And as a big fan of the series, of course, you did an amazing job as How-On, who is one of the most adorable characters in the show.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
As I've said before, on this show, we did a random top 5 favorite characters from one anime. I chose the Show by Rock franchise, and How-On was number 1 with Ryuyu like a 1A. Really close number 2. And Cyan is number 3.
Good choices. Good choices.
And people, if people are wondering how much do I love love How-On, that is my background on the phone.
Cute. I love it.
And the opening screen, of course, for
Really you. That's awesome.
So, Lindsay, if you watch this, I do have your character on my phone as well.
Hey, Lindsay, if you're watching this.
And now, as a voice actor, when you were younger growing up, were there other voice actors you idolized? You're like, I want to learn from so-and-so, whether it be like a Caitlin Glass, Todd, somebody who's been in the industry for a long time.
Monica Rial is the person that I looked up to when I was getting into this. I think she is so poised and so freaking talented and good at what she does and works so hard. It's apparent in everything I've ever seen her in. So when I was in high school theater, we were went on this big field trip to this thing called Thespian Festival, which was all the different high school theater groups came together, and there was competitions and classes, and Monica Rial was teaching a anime voice acting class, and I had already known that anime voiceover was something I was interested in, and I went to her class, and that's really what solidified this for me. I think she's totally who I looked up to when I was little.
And whether people out there you love Monica or hate Monica, the work she has done is phenomenal. And she is a sweetheart of a person. I've met her multiple times. We've had her as a guest on the show a couple of times. She is such a sweetheart. I feel bad we didn't see her at Kineticon. She had a table there, but every time her line was so huge.
I imagine. She's amazing.
But they had between 20 and 25 guests.
That's awesome. That sounds like so much fun.
And I will throw your name in the hat for next year for all of the cons up this way. See, we can
please do. Thank you. I've actually never been to a con before.
You haven't?
Mm-mm.
Not as have you been as an attendee or
no.
not? No? Wow.
There was a couple I wanted to go to, and then COVID happened, and I said, well, it's not my time anymore. So I gotta go to one.
Well, fingers crossed. We have been trying to get on the planning planning group, the people working behind the scenes for a local convention up here called BakuretsuCon over in Colchester, Vermont. If we can get in with them and help them out, if I can get in as trying to help with guests or something like that, I will definitely throw your name out there.
Thank you. I would love to come.
And usually they hold that in the fall. They're not holding it this year for obvious reasons. It'll be 2 years in a row that Baku has not been put on, but they didn't want to rush something and put on something that was half-hearted or
for sure. Yeah.
So, but that's the convention that my wife and I actually met at.
Oh, sweet.
And then because my wife and I have the nerdiest love story that you'll hear. We met because of Pokemon. She made 2 full fursuits of Mewtwo and Umbreon, so we became friends because of her creating Pokemon characters. Fell in love playing Minecraft and Skyping. Got married at a Comic-Con dressed as Pokemon by a comic artist. And then had Barry Bostwick photobomb our wedding photo.
That is incredible. You should write a book or a play or something about this.
And it was quite interesting. And Darren knows it's true because he's talked to Barry about it.
Yeah, I happened to see him at Raleigh SuperCon about 2 or 3 years ago and asked if he remembered that, and he said yes.
That's awesome.
And then proceeded to ask, are they still together? Which I said yes, and he's like, okay, this is why I need to be at more people's weddings. I make them I make the marriages last.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Now, I know you haven't been to conventions. Have you ever wanted to cosplay or thought about getting into the world of cosplay?
I never have actually done it, but it's totally something I'd like to do. I always love seeing people's cosplay.
And I will throw a spoiler out there for people. This is a character I am planning on cosplaying, possibly for Anime Boston next May.
Yes!
Darren, I may be cosplaying as Yuna. Not just in the white outfit, it's going to be reversible to also have her black outfit.
Oh my.
The attention to detail. Awesome.
if Leanne can get that done, Leanne is my wife. If she can get that done like we want to, that's going to be. And she said if she can get it done and make everything, she wants to put me in the masquerade. Good God.
That's iconic.
So you definitely need to show up for that, Darren, so you can support or make fun of me, whichever you see fit.
Maybe both.
Make fun of in a supporting way.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget, I still need to figure out how I'm going to cosplay eventually.
Oh, you could cosplay as Hawan.
Yeah, good option.
Now, the characters that you voiced, Macy, and if like money or was not an option, which character would you want to cosplay as?
Okay. There's so many good ones that I feel like would be cute costumes. Okay, maybe Hoenn, because I love her like ears and her whole fox girl thing she has going on. It's very cute. She's probably the cutest character I've voiced.
Plus, you would also get a chance to sing as Hawan.
True. That's true.
And everybody who knows me knows that I am a fan of Masha Myrish's music. I think I like it better than Plasmagica. I
love Masha Myrish's music.
She's biased, though. She sings.
I am. I will admit. I've listened to it a lot by now.
I've listened to the Japanese a lot because the English stuff is hard to find.
Oh, very true. Very true.
But if Macy ever does do a video of it, I'll try to get it from her and we can air it here on the show.
Thank you. I'll think about it.
Now, what got you interested in the world of anime? You said that you would start watching it at a young age.
Yeah, it was never something that like my friends really watched or I knew anyone that was into it. It was super random. I was just on Netflix. Like, we were about to leave for a big vacation. I was like, oh, I'm so antsy to go on this vacation. I'm just going to watch a show. And I started watching Sword Art Online, and I was, like, obsessed with it. I thought it was the greatest thing I'd ever seen. Never having watched an anime before, I was like, this is awesome. So, yeah, that's how I got into it. And then I would look up, like, anime like Sword Art Online or, like, top 10 anime, things like that, and just went through the whole thing.
Now, knowing that you're an anime fan as well as a voice actor, I've got to ask you, because Darren and myself are both callers, we both consider ourselves to be isekai trash. How do you feel about the isekai genre?
Okay, so I started with Sword Art Online, right? And I didn't even know what, like, isekai was when I started watching it. I guess these days I haven't seen an isekai in a while. I think it's fun, though. I love the campiness of it all.
Yeah, and of course, you started off with Sword Art Online. I started off with Inuyasha.
Nice.
And don't mind the Deku box.
Hey, Deku.
And I started off with Chrome Shelled Regios. I like how everyone knows y'all's anime, but nobody knows.
I know of Chrome Shelled Regios. I haven't watched it.
It was on Netflix when I was in high school, so that was 8 years ago. Oh my God.
I don't want to hear, oh my God, I graduated in 1996.
That's the year I was born.
That's one thing that's fun about the world of anime and conventions and stuff like that. You see people of all ages enjoying it, and anime has gone back through so many years, all the way back to shows like Speed Racer, which came out way back when.
Yeah.
I watched some Speed Racer when I was younger. I had no clue it was anime.
Yeah.
Same thing with Pokemon when it came out. I had no idea it was considered anime.
Yeah, I guess that's true, because I definitely watched Pokemon before I saw Sword Art Online, but for me, it didn't register that was anime.
Same thing with Yu-Gi-Oh! For me.
Yeah.
And another question from Mario in the chat. Question for Macy: which type of character is the hardest to voice in your opinion?
For me, I've never really played a character like this, but I've auditioned for a few. Just like the deeper voice, like more, like sexy ladies is just not naturally what my voice gravitates or like leans into well. I usually am like the cute little one, the kind of like medium toned one, or the little boy. But I definitely want to get better at like the more like those darker tones. For me, that's the hardest thing to do.
And one thing that I've noticed with the world of voice acting is every character that you do helps you to learn a new skill.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've noticed hearing stories, and I have been fortunate enough pre-COVID, I was averaging between 10 to 15 conventions a year.
Wow, nice.
Between my wife being an artist and vending cons, press covering it as AZR, or just going to some of the local smaller Comic Cons and anime cons and stuff. And hearing a lot of the panels of the voice actors based off of specific roles they would do, they would notice that their voice, their normal speaking voice would change.
That's funny. I guess I've never really tracked my normal speaking voice enough to see how much it's changed. But
I don't remember which voice actress it was, but they were talking about they had a character that they were voicing that was a really low register, kind of gruff, rough and tumble type of character. And then after voicing that character for hours, they would come out of the booth and their voice, even though they're speaking normal, would keep that lower register, like 2 or 3 octaves lower than what they normally would talk like.
That's cool.
And I know some other voice actors are very good at listening to people around them. Is that a skill that you picked up to help you with voicing characters going forward?
Yeah, I guess for me, for theater, I guess more, I've had to learn like some accent stuff. So I feel like I've gotten good at discerning or at least acknowledging when something is like, interesting to me, or like picking certain things out and maybe using them.
And it's one thing that I've been able to do, and I'm in no way, shape, or form, I'll never claim to be an actor. I've got no training. I've never been on a stage as an actor or anything like that. The closest thing I've done to that is like karaoke.
Yeah.
And but I have a good ear of picking up different accents. And in a couple of weeks, we have a friend of mine coming on, Sophia Copen, who's from the UK. And I told her ahead of time that I will apologize if I start sounding British during the interview. I hear an accent, I pick it up within about 5 to 10 minutes, whether it be a Southern accent, whether it be Pennsylvania. Yes, you guys have your own accent. I come from Boston. It's taken me a while to remember how to pronounce my R's. I will poke fun at myself on that too, because I used to live in Boston to park the car. It was wicked hard to remember the R. And but have you been able to? I mean, pre-COVID, were you able to travel at all as a voice actor? I know you said you hadn't been to cons, but were able to get out as a voice actor, try to get your name out there a little bit more? Or?
Yeah, I've only really worked as a voice actor in DFW projects, or like Texas stuff. But yeah, I mean, traveling is something I definitely want to do more of going forward, just whether that be for work or for conventions. But I've never really traveled for voiceover before. Or traveled a little.
Hello to Pop Girl. I was just talking about her, and she has just come into the chat room. Hello, Pop Girl. Welcome to Anime-Zing Radio. Congratulations to your Bills on a dominating win over Miami, by the way. I did see that. And as a fan of anime, I've come to watch, like I said, Darren and I both have watched hundreds and hundreds of shows. Would you think you've watched over 100 shows in your time of watching the anime, or?
I don't know if I've watched 100. I've watched at least 100 episodes, but I don't know if I've watched 100 different franchises. Maybe.
Do you have a My Anime List Not Note account, Max, yet?
I don't. Maybe I should make one so I can keep track. I feel like there are so many shows I've watched that have just completely left my brain.
What are some of your favorite shows that you've watched?
Okay, both of my favorites, I tell people all the time, and I don't know how to pronounce either of them, but Clanad and Bacano, did I get both of those wrong?
Clanad and Bakano.
Bacano, yeah. I think those were two I watched early on. Clanad is like my all-time like favorite show. I love that show.
Two other shows I have not seen.
Clanad's really good. I watched it right when COVID really hit hard. I watched it all again with my mom. And even my mom liked it. It's a really good one.
It's a classic. I haven't, unfortunately. It's one I haven't watched. And wasn't that a June Medea anime?
What was that, Darren?
June Medea. She did several heartbreaking shows.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
But it is heartbreaking, but in the good way.
Mm-hmm. I think they were supposed to do something else with that series. I can't remember if it was a game or some sort of I don't remember. I saw something in the news about it recently.
Oh, interesting. I'll have to look into it. It's so good. So good.
Some of the other shows that you've been a part of include the Magical Girl Raising Project. What was it like to be a part of that?
Yeah, that show, that's like the first recurring named character that I got in a show. I was Hardcore Alice. She's that show's really cool because it's all these magical girls fighting to the death for this position. There can only be one, so they're all fighting to the death. But the coolest part for me is that they each have like a very specific design and like characterization, like essence about them. And my character was like the goth Lolita, very shy, very tragic. She was such a fun character to play. And I really haven't done anything quite like that since I played her.
Is it a character you'd like to get back into, doing more similar to her?
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of that whole like goth Lolita thing. You see it pop up every now and then, but it's not super common, I don't feel like. But yeah. It was really fun to play.
One thing I've noticed happening a lot more lately in anime, and Darren, I'm not sure if you've noticed it as well, but it really stuck out to me with the great Jahi. And like Jahi, I've seen a lot of YouTubers talk about the show, the fact that she is a darker skin toned main character. She's adorable. And then you have the magical girl, the good girl that comes in, and she's kind of hideous looking. I've noticed that a lot more like demon lords in anime, and the devil girls look amazing recently, and some of the better characters are not as attractive.
Wait, that's so funny. I don't know that show. I'm looking at pictures.
And Jahi is Jahy.
Basically, it's kind of similar to the devil is a part-timer per se, and the fact that the demon lord, or at least someone very close to the demon lord, gets basically stuck on Earth and has to work a minimum wage type job.
Funny.
Just to survive.
Have you seen The Devil is a Part-Timer? Is that one of those shows that you've had in your
repertoire?
repertoire?
No, I have not seen that one. I know the vibe though. I've seen bits.
That was a fantastic show. That was another one that we had done a special on years ago. We were very lucky to have Josh Greeley, Anthony Bowling, Felicia Angel, and Tia Ballard on. So like the four of the main characters from that had joined us for that one.
Cool.
And
it was a show way ahead of its time, and thankfully it's getting a continuation after almost 8 years.
Nice.
It needs one. It's one of those shows that if it had come out within the last 2 to 3 years, we'd be on season 5 now, like My Hero probably.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed on the Anime News Network that you've had some bit roles in My Hero, speaking of which.
Yeah, I did. I did a bit for My Hero. I was in a news segment. They were like showing different like passerbys, and I was one of the passerbys.
Now, do you have fun with some of the Walla sessions where they ask for some randomness?
Oh yes, stuff like that is always so much fun, and it's very like an opportunity to try something new, you know. And if it doesn't work, it's not. They'll do a new take, but those are always really cool opportunities to just be fun and do something interesting.
Kind of break out of your shell a bit.
Yeah. For sure.
Oh wow! I see you also have. Yeah. Well, now what were you gonna say, Doug?
Oh, what were you gonna say?
I'd say I was gonna talk about a different show. If you were still on that, then
Oh no, go right ahead.
I see you got cast in one of the famous shows that took forever to get a dub, and that was Nichijou.
Oh yes, I play. So Anthony Bowling is Sakamoto. Am I saying that name? Is that right?
That's correct.
Yes, and then I am. I make the cat noises before he gets the collar that lets him talk. So I'm like Kitten Sakamoto.
Interesting.
Yeah, when I first started out, I was doing a lot of cats.
I have to say, I did not know this before doing all the scheduling, but next week we have Anthony on the show.
Oh, nice.
So we'll have to pick on him about being a cat, although we know a lot of roles he's done, and especially where over the last weekend we got to talk with another good friend of his, Jeremy Inman.
Oh, cool.
And have him, the fun those two have poked at each other.
I believe it.
Now, once you started getting into voice acting, were there times when you were just like awestruck by some of the voice actors that you would work with, the directors you would work with, anything like that?
Oh, for sure. There was a session I was coming in for. It was actually for Nichijou, but I like walked into the studio and Monica Rial was recording. I was like, this is my favorite voice actor. Like, how cool. And when I the first director I ever worked with was Jade Saxton, who's amazing, incredible, and just working with her, like that being my first session, she's amazing. She's been in so much stuff, and she's such a skilled director too. I was like blown out of the water immediately. Clifford Chapin is also like, I worked with him a lot, and he is awesome, and he's like my favorite character in My Hero. But yeah.
And Mario says, "Aye, Jade is awesome."
That's true.
Hearts go out to Jade Saxton. She's been a guest on the show a couple of times, and
she's one of your favorite cats.
Fairy Tale?
No.
Oh. Which cat?
High School DxD.
Yes.
Which is one of the people ask me about animes that I enjoy, and High School DxD is one I will always recommend to anybody who is like over 18.
Yeah, definitely that important caveat.
Because of the content that's in there. But High School DxD's character and storyline development was so good. I hated Konako in season 1. By season 3, by the end of season 3, she was my favorite character in the whole franchise.
Nice.
Just because of how they grew her character out, and you got to see her open up more. And Jay told me not to give up on her character. We met her before season 3 came out. Or before I had watched it. She's like, there's some surprises that come with Konako. You've got to keep following.
That's cool. I love things like that.
And
speaking of which, how did it feel to voice in season 4, even if it was a younger version of one of our new main characters?
Yeah, it was really fun because I did that character, and for a couple cues I was the younger version of him, and then for like the rest of my session I did Walla, where I was also children. I think I was also little boys, so I did a bunch of little boy bits for that show. It was really fun.
Let's see, was this around the time the Opie Dragon theme song came on?
Oh, yes. Was it like I was little boys in an audience, and I do believe that this is
that was his TV show, courtesy of Lucifer.
That's awesome. Yep, I know that one. Yep.
I was very surprised when they put out the preview for season 3 that they actually did the song.
That's hysterical. What a funny show.
Did you ever think that you'd be sitting here talking anime with people, not just about the shows you like, but shows you've worked on?
I really like when I got into it, I've been so like even since before I had any big credits or anything, I've just felt so welcomed by the whole anime community, and I just love to talk about this stuff. So the fact that you guys even want to talk about it is so cool, you know? And to get to talk about things that I've worked on that's crazy. No, I never would have guessed something like that would happen.
And as seems to happen every show, my cat wants to come and say hello. This is Haru.
Hey. Cute.
And she's a little over a year old now.
Baby.
And she gets jealous for some reason when I'm on the air.
She wants to be on.
So every week she has to come. And now before her, we had another cat named Lily who sadly passed away at the age of 20, almost 21 years old.
Dang.
And Lily would also come every time I was at the computer and want to get picked up and, loved. And we called her the attention seeker. And putting that in a nice way. And Haru has seemed to take over that role. But
that's sweet.
And her brother.
About to say, where's the other one at?
Ainz is probably sleeping on the bed. We have an orange cat. His name is Ainz, named after Overlord.
Ah, cool.
Haru is named after my roommate as a cat.
Nice.
Which, surprisingly, and anybody who watched our Kineticon special that we did this past Monday, you saw all the autographs that I had gotten. Surprisingly, I didn't know this, but Jeremy Inman and Kimberly Grace are dating. Kimberly is another talented voice actress who voiced Haru's brother in that anime.
That's cat. Cool.
So we got her signature on that. And she also voiced May, who was the cat girl who ran the inn of How Not to Summon a Demon Lord.
Nice.
My wife was actually cosplaying as Sylvie from that show at Kineticon. Let's see if I can find the picture here. Because she posted it on social media, I know it's safe for me to post as well.
Oh, cool.
So that was at the hotel. And she actually walked up to Jeremy's table like that, forgetting he was the director of that show.
Ha!
And Leah Clark was also there, who was the voice of Sylvie.
Ha! That's so cool.
Unfortunately, we never got a chance to talk with her.
Dang.
But again, only having so much money, so much time, and covering the con as press, we didn't want it to seem like we were only there for fun and not actually working, because Kineticon has been wonderful to us for the past 6 years, allowing us in as press to cover them. And of course, we want to keep working so we can keep going back to cover that event. If you can make Kineticon, it's a multi-genre con. It's a lot of fun. I noticed the voice actors had a lot of times at their tables. Usually did, at least this past con, they did like 2 or 3 panels throughout the weekend.
Okay.
But like Kimberly, because she wasn't a guest of the con, she cosplayed a lot. She walked around kind of as people would see her, just think she was another attendee, not knowing she was there with Jeremy until they'd walk up to the table and see her there. So
that's fun.
If you can get out to a convention, I know COVID right now has made things crazy. Definitely do it, because the atmosphere is amazing.
I want to so bad. As soon as I can, I'm going to go to one.
And as I said, we've made many cons in the past, both as vendors and press and whatnot, and just attendees. And it was so good to get back.
I bet.
After our last anime con was 2 years ago, which was Bakuretsu Con, when we got to meet Sarah Wiedenheft. Sarah was also a guest at Kineticon. We got to talk with her, but didn't have the funds for an autograph because we're trying to budget money. We got more autographs than we expected and more stuff than we expected. Thank you, Darren.
You're welcome.
He helped us out quite a bit. And Now, I know you said you haven't made it to a con, but what's one of the things that you're looking forward to when you can go to cons? Would it be, if you just are able to go as an attendee, are you more excited about going to panels or Artist Alley, seeing the vendors, seeing the cosplay?
Yeah, I think I would be most excited to like Artist Alley, see like the vendors, and kind of just watch everybody walking around, especially like the cosplayers and cool stuff like that.
And it's definitely and speaking from experience of being on multiple sides of the table for conventions, everything set up, sitting, being as people would laugh at me and call me the booth babe because my wife is the artist. Maybe that's why people stayed away. If they think I'm the booth babe, man, you're in trouble.
Well, you probably gave off the same vibe Fafner did at his time.
Yes.
Possible. Well, I didn't give off the glaring like I'm gonna kill you vibe like Fafnir. I look at myself more of a Shota, like what do I do now?
Sure.
And I know we have a Kobayashi Dragon Maid special that's going to be coming up on October 17th, which you said, unfortunately, you're not able to join us that night, which it would have been amazing to have you as well. That's one reason why I want to talk a little bit more about Dragon Maid tonight with you.
Yeah.
And what was the process in getting cast as Shota for season 2? I know it had a different voice actor in season 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My process kind of just the same as the Akudama Drive one. Very typical. Just got the side, and then I listened to a bunch of reference stuff since it is like a voice match role. But I'd already seen all of Dragon Maid, so I was like, okay, I know how this one sounds. So, yeah, it went well. I guess I got cast, and I love the character. So,
were you surprised to get the role of Shota?
Totally, because I never would have thought, just because I like the show and it's something I was familiar with. It just never occurred to me that it was something I could be a part of, and it's really cool to be a part of it. I was super hyped.
And I was looking through the shows that you have been a part of, and unfortunately, I didn't have any figures. I have a lot of figures, but I didn't have any that coincided well enough with them to put up. So that's why Yuna is up here.
Hey, Yuna.
Which, if you haven't seen Kuma 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 Bear, I say definitely check it out. It is a very wholesome and very cute anime.
I like both of those things.
And I mean, you see the character, and she's a 15-year-old girl that gets sucked into her video game. And
classic.
She ends up being stuck in a bear outfit. Back at level 1. And so it does have an SAO feel to it.
Totally. Sounds like
virtual reality, put the headset on, and then she ends up in the video game.
Yeah, nice.
But she has bears that shoot out of the little mitts here that are absolutely adorable and stuff. Like, it's just so cute, so wholesome.
That's fun. That sounds super good.
That's why our 9-year-old is going to probably watch that as her next anime.
Mm-hmm. It seems like a good choice.
And then go to Mashamai Resh.
Yes!
Because it all comes back to Show by Rock.
It has to. It simply must.
Now, being a fan of music as you are, where you've sung theater and things of that nature, do you feel like you have a good ear when it comes to the anime openings and endings? Do you specifically listen for them to see which shows you like, which are catchy and whatnot?
Yeah, for sure. I love the opening of this season of Dragon Maid. It is so good. Have you heard it?
Oh, yeah.
You have. It's so good, right?
I've annoyed my wife with it. We had our friend Jeremy who went to Kineticon with us. We annoyed him with it at the hotel. It's at the point now where I just look at my wife and go, da, 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 and it's stuck in her head for hours.
It's so good. It had no right to be that good. I listen to it like on Spotify all the time. What other ones do I like? Let me think. Basic, but Neon Genesis Evangelion is like the best opening ever.
What was the name of that? The opening song for Angel Beats. Have you heard that?
Yeah, that's a good one.
That piano riff at the beginning is just like, oh my god, that's just amazing.
Yes, I totally, agreed. What
And
else is good?
No Game, No Life opening.
I like No Game, No Life. Why can't I remember the opening?
I don't remember it either.
I'll listen to it after.
I would know it if I heard it.
It starts off with the piano, just so you know.
I'll go listen to it tonight. That's funny. It's a good show.
Well, did you ever start Death Parade, Doug?
I did. I've watched 3 episodes.
Have you seen the opening? And have you seen why I say it's the most misleading opening of pretty much any show?
Yeah.
Catchy?
It is catchy. I have to get back to it now that things are kind of settled down and we've got a week's in of working, and I caught up on a lot of anime this week, I have to say. I'm like 1 episode behind on Jahi, but I caught up on Dragon Maid. I caught up on Drugstore in Another World, which, spoiler alert, it has not felt like an isekai through 11 episodes.
No.
Episode 12 from the little preview they gave might make the isekai side of it come to light.
Well, School Days didn't feel like its tags until the last episode.
Yeah, the last episode or 2. Conception was just a mistake. If you haven't seen Conception yet, Macy, don't do it.
Okay, I will not.
don't subject to it.
Yeah, I didn't even advise watching Bikini Wars, and I hated that one too.
And there was another show that had come to mind that
That you caught up on?
That she was in, but I'm trying to remember it now. Going through the list here, it's like there was one that came to mind that
that you've watched it.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize you were in Kakurio Bed and Breakfast for Spirits.
Oh yeah, I think in that one I'm a bunch of like additional voices throughout. I'm a little boy somewhere in there.
That, in all honesty, Ginji is the last cosplay I did, and we were judged at Anime Boston. We were in the masquerade. I was Ginji, and my wife was Renmu.
That's cool.
I see you were in Gridman.
Yeah.
That whole show, all everyone could talk about was Rika and her thighs.
Fair enough.
That was literally the objective of pretty much every artist that whole season.
Fair enough. Give the people what they want.
And another series that's a classic series that got a reboot. I noticed that you had a small role in was Fruits Basket. See the remake.
Yeah, I've done bits for Fruits Basket, which is super cool to be even like involved in that in the slightest. It's such a big deal. It's such a big show.
Was that a show that you had watched before being cast in it? Did you see the original, or?
I haven't seen the original. Well, okay, kind of not true. I've seen some of the original, but I haven't watched it in its like totality.
I will put it this way. The original was great when it came out. The storyline was fantastic, and the comedy aspect of it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
When they remade it and kind of took some of the comedy stuff out of it and the goofy late 90s, early 2000s anime silliness out of it, it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I get to talk with somebody, like you've been a part of shows that are absolutely fantastic shows. And they're not shows that are like huge name shows. A lot of these shows fly under the radar, like Smile Down the Runway. World Witches is another one I think flew under the radar way too much.
Akudama Drive. You gotta watch it. It's one of my favorites.
I see yours.
Afroetta from Commonplace to World's Strongest. You had a small role in that, I see as well.
Mm.
That's getting a second season, by the way.
Oh, nice. I hope my little girl comes back.
And then Dr. Stone was definitely one of the hidden gems of recent seasons.
Doctor sounds awesome. It's so good. I voiced like one of the villagers in that show.
And I love the fact you used hidden gems when Macy's character's name was Ruby.
I didn't even think about that. That's hilarious.
Well, it's one of those series where the author has done a whole lot of research into various things and then explained it out very well, kind of like Food Wars, Cells at Work. They've really done their research.
Totally. Yeah, I love that feeling of like learning while I'm watching anime.
It is I think that's one reason why I like shows like After School Dice Club, New Game, because it gives you even Smile Down the Runway. It gives you an inside look of things that a lot of people wouldn't consider. After School Dice Club is a show I think a lot of people slept on.
Mm.
Not even giving it two thoughts, which is funny when you think about the anime and gaming community are very close together.
Mm-hmm.
Even tabletop gaming, you have a lot of tabletop gamings, RPGs that are based off of animes or anime-themed topics.
Yeah.
And I think you had a small role in that as well.
I think I might have done a couple additional voices type things.
Now, is it weird when people are like, "Oh, I know you were in this show," and you're like, "I think I just said like 2 lines. How did you know that?" Does that feel weird to you, or?
No, I feel like I have a pretty good memory when it comes to voiceover stuff. So I feel like I generally knew, or like I generally know what I've been in. But don't hold me to that for sure, just in case I forget something in the next hour.
That to me, anybody that's got a good memory amazes me because my memory sucks, which is why I write stuff down.
And why you ask me stuff.
And why I rely on Darren a lot. I mean, this right here is like, that's our schedule for guests coming up. At the top was all the way back to the Masha Myresh special.
Nice.
And then all the people we've had on since then. Of course, we switched over to YouTube on August 1st. Mm-hmm. Because we felt it was time for a change, and I think we made the right choice coming over to YouTube. I like the video aspect of things as well, where the audio side of things was fun, but when you can actually see the person, and it's more realistic. It makes conversations, I think, a little bit more comfortable. Yeah,
I agree.
And we've always tried to have a very comfortable feel on the show here. We don't like to ask the attack questions. I've seen too many talk shows where it's like they just go one after another, and you just have to answer 1 million questions in like 30 seconds, or the world's gonna end. And we like to keep things fun here.
Yeah, I like that. Good vibes.
And now, have you done many other interviews before this one, or?
I've done a few things for Beneath the Tangles. Do you know them? They're awesome. They're they have an anime blog, and they also do different how do you say this? Like, I guess different like interview type things. I did a podcast with them where we all watched Serial Experiments Lane, and then we like met up on like Zoom and talked about it. It was fun.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, you should check them out if you haven't. They're really, really cool.
Yeah, shoot me over a link after the show so I can check them out.
We'll do.
Speaking of other shows, I was actually approached via email about another podcast called Super Fancom. And I've got to reach out to them again, Darren, but they want us to join them next Saturday.
Okay.
They record via Skype, and I've listened to a couple of the shows. Seems like a lot of their shows are in the 1.5 to 2 hour range, much like ours. And I think it's going to start around 8:30.
Yay! The later the show, the better, because with it getting dark sooner means better for me.
Nice.
Especially in the landscaping business, where you can only mow so long until you run out of light.
Yep. I've been meaning to mount lights on my stuff for a while now, just haven't got around to it.
you're gonna be those of you living in North Carolina. You're gonna be driving through certain areas. You're gonna see a guy on a mower with a big floodlight on his head. And that's gonna be Darren just cruising down the street in a riding mower.
Just so you know, there are a lot of landscape companies that have commercial accounts that are nowhere near human civilization that do a lot of their mowing at nighttime, just for the fact it's a lot cooler.
That makes sense.
Especially down in the Carolinas and down south, you guys have a lot hotter weather than we do up here.
Mm-hmm. It ain't the heat; it's the humidity.
Mm.
Today was beautiful up here. It's still, let's see, what's it saying? It was it's saying it's 54 degrees up here right now.
Let's see.
That's
here,
lucky.
wow. Here it is 75.
I think we had a high of like 66.
Wait, let me tell you what we were at. I think it was terrible. I went outside and it felt terrible. Let's see.
I played disc golf today. It was beautiful out there.
That's fun.
I slaved over a fryer all day.
I think that's about what Leanne's doing now.
Okay. Tomorrow for us is a low of 73 and a high of 100. How is that possible? I thought it was supposed to be fall.
Hey, 90,
welcome to Texas.
Too much Texas.
90 here and 68 low for tomorrow.
75 and 55. That's what we get living. Like, I am literally, I'm about 45 minutes from the Canadian border.
Dang.
So
I won't be getting that 75, 55 till Thursday, and it's supposed to rain.
And Macy's like, I don't know what that temperature feels like. I live in Texas.
Maybe I'll get that on Christmas or something.
Yeah, maybe.
You get those freak snowstorms that come through, and then the next day it's all melted.
I know. We, last semester, we got frozen over for a week. It was unheard of. And they had to, like, cancel classes and stuff. It was insane. We couldn't leave our houses.
I remember hearing about that, having the frost that came through there. A lot of people were without power and things.
Mm-hmm. Craziness.
I remember back when I was in middle school, I think it was, a snowstorm came through, and it hit as far south as Georgia, and the littlest bit of snow and ice crippled I-95 from Georgia all the way up into North Carolina.
Mm.
Because they ain't got that stuff on the normal basis, so they don't know how to deal with it.
Nobody knows what to do.
That's one thing that's fun about the different areas that, like, I think it's really cool with this show is we're all in different locations. And so the weather is different for all of us. Like here in New York, especially North Country where I live, when it snows, and I used to live over by Lake Ontario when I was with my ex-wife. I was above Syracuse, New York area. They got lake effect snow, which the last storm that hit before I divorced my ex-wife and moved out of there was 32.5 inches in 5 hours.
That might be as bad as the heat after all.
I still made it to work on time in a Monte Carlo.
Wow.
My mom still owns her money. And the last snowstorm we had anywhere close to that was 2000, where it snowed 20 inches in the course of the night. And then the snow stuck around for a little over 2 weeks. School was out for over 2 weeks because I think it snowed again a week after that. I was 4.
We had, up here we have like the big like dump trucks with plows on the front. They have plows on the side that come out, like one truck and clear 2 lanes.
Mm-hmm.
In Massachusetts, when I lived out in the Cape Cod area, before moving to Syracuse, I had known pickup trucks like Ford F2, F350s with the 6-8 foot blades plowing the highways. Not the big trucks, but you had people on their personal vehicles plowing the highways and stuff like that. So a big snowstorm hit out there, especially Cape Cod, where we got more rain than snow, being southeastern Mass with the warm air off the ocean constantly. Mm. So we didn't have to deal with a lot of it. So if a big storm hit, it kind of crippled that area too.
Yeah, makes sense.
I have to say, around here, it's skid steers and pickup trucks.
And Pop Girl says, I'm from the south of England. I walked to college in a snowstorm. It was a bad idea.
Yeah, that sounds tough. And cold.
It definitely, I've always wanted to visit Texas, but I hate the heat. So it's like, I want to go like in fall, winter time.
Yeah.
Maybe make a convention down there. Because, amazingly, I've done this show for 7.5 years. Darren's been a part of it for, I think, 2.5, almost 3 years now as co-host. And I've always wanted to get down to Texas for a convention. Thought it was going to happen a couple years ago when we were working with Nomakai Dallas. Unfortunately, things fell through there, so we weren't actually able to make it down there. But, I know that it's a whole different world down there.
It's very hot.
Now, do you get the humidity down there as well as we do over here on the East Coast?
Sometimes we do, but generally, at least for me personally, I'm way more bothered by the sheer heat and sun, especially recently, because I've been trying to get into the fall spirit, and I can't. It's ruined for me. I'm still trying to have on my sweater.
I was the kid growing up that wore his sweatshirt all the time.
Yes.
I didn't care how hot it was.
I do the same thing, especially when I was younger. It's like hoodie or nothing, man.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm the one that's always like in t-shirt and shorts. Or I wore pants for disc golf today, but I was wearing the Inuyasha t-shirt because even though it was like 55, 60 degrees out, I'm like, I know I'm going to be hot. I've got the AC on behind me because I'm sweating. Man, we've gone from anime to talking about weather. This show, I feel like we're kind of a knockoff of Trash Taste in some cases, Darren.
Sometimes.
Now, have you followed any YouTubers, or do you watch many of the YouTubers out there? Or?
Not a ton. I've seen Trash Taste a couple times though.
They recently, not this most recent episode, but I think it was one that came out last week. They had like a 25-minute argument over chicken.
That makes sense. But I can only give, I got a couple different versions of chicken I can argue about them with, but when it comes to stuff been prepared in Japan and stuff, no.
Well, the argument was chicken wings, bone in versus bone out.
Okay, never mind.
I don't know what I like. I need to think about this.
And it was Gigic versus Sea Dog.
Who got what?
I think Gigic was bone in, Sea Dog was bone out, and the Anime Man was bone out. But he just sat back and put his hands behind his head and was like, I'm just going to watch you guys yell back and forth.
It's hilarious. They're so funny.
I think it was the most heated argument I've seen on that since the pizza crust debate.
What was that?
Gigic refuses to eat pizza crust.
Childish.
And the other guys are like, it's the best part of the pizza, which, for the record, I eat pizza crust.
Even though you work for Domino's.
I mean, yeah, I did work for Domino's, which kind of ruined Domino's for me. I don't work for them anymore. It was a time that I worked. That was back when I was working as much as you, Darren, working like 70 to 80 hours a week between two jobs, which that's a lot. Which Darren knows, hats off to him for the amount of work he puts in between his day job and his business. And I know what it's like to be running on empty when it comes to this time of night. So that's why we always love that he's able to join us and be a part of the show for the last 2.5, 3 years.
Even when I fall asleep.
I think you did on the Masha My Rest show. I think you fell asleep during that one.
I think it was about 9:30.
That's bedtime. That's fair.
Well, in Darren's defense, he usually sits around like 4 or 5 Dakimakuras. So he's nice and comfy when he's doing the show. And when you're surrounded by your waifus, how can you not fall asleep?
Fair enough.
Lately, I've been trying to sit in the kitchen and sit upright so I can't fall asleep. I was the kind that I can't fall asleep anywhere. Like, I know that some people could fall asleep in class or whatnot. I couldn't do it.
Me neither.
I can't.
I can fall asleep anywhere, and one time it was a bad time to fall asleep.
Not while driving, I hope.
Totaled a 1990 Olds Cutlass.
Oh my gosh!
I had been up for almost 48 hours at the time, and I was 10 minutes from the house.
Oh my gosh!
Fortunately, I walked away from it, no injuries or anything like that.
Yeah.
But that was during a very bad time in my life.
If you'd been up for 48 hours, I imagine. Jeez.
And but like I said, knock on wood, I walked away from the crash. When the police showed up, boy was I on the ball when I told them what happened. I told them that the tire blew, spun the wheel, my arm hit my head, and that was the last thing I remembered. You don't tell them you fell asleep,
No.
or else.
Don't tell them that.
Or else,
driving.
reckless driving, you're gonna have all sorts of charges on.
Oh,
you.
yeah.
If you tell them you got knocked out because of a mechanical failure, all good. I'm not saying lie to police. No. But it worked for me. But God, we go all over the place with this show. I think that's one thing that's fun about it is we try to cover all sorts of sides of the anime world, plus show that we're human.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that's fun about having the voice actors on like yourself, Macy, because a lot of people know your work, but they don't get a chance to see you, especially where you haven't been at any conventions. So fans of Show by Rock or Dragon Maid, some of the other shows you've been a part of, it's like, I don't know who this person is. Maybe they haven't come to any cons in our area. This gives them a chance to, now with the video format, get to see you, get to know you more as a person, not just a character.
Yeah. No, I think that's super cool. It's a cool opportunity.
And here comes Ainz walking out now. See
if
he wants to come over. Ainz, you want to come over and say hi to everybody or no? He's thinking about it. Come on, Einzelgoon. Come on up and say hi. This is the orange fluffball.
Hi, Ainz. Oh, he's cute. Pretty boy.
We call him Squirrel Tail because of this fruit.
Adds up.
Mm-hmm.
And hello, Sharka. Welcome to the show. I see you in the chat room. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in. And if you're new to the show, if you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button if you like what you've been seeing tonight. If you've been enjoying the content we put out, we're planning on putting out 1 or 2 shows during the week next week if things come together. I was a little bit lazy recovering from Kineticon, aside from the Kineticon special. But, lots of fun stuff has been going on. Tonight we're joined by the amazing Macy Ann Johnson, who I have become a huge fan of hers, kind of because of Hawan. I won't lie. I mean, the adorable Fox Girl. Darren, I like the Cat Girls, Fox Girls, and Dragon Girls.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
And Darren likes the Bunny Girls.
Mm.
The Bunny Girls and the Devil Girls.
Well, I've never gotten to be one of those.
Technically, my Devil Girl was actually a church girl, but...
Zenobia in DxD.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking.
She started off on the good side and then went to the better side.
Plus, her battle outfit from when she was with the church was also something.
And looking through, trying to see all the shows that you've been in that we haven't talked about yet, including Higurashi When They Cry.
Yeah. I voiced Chie. I'm the teacher.
What was it like to be a part? I've heard so much good things about Higurashi.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a really good, and the dub is super fun to be a part of. The cast is awesome, but my character is the teacher, so she's cool because she gets to interact with pretty much everybody. So because she teaches all of them. So yeah, it's really fun. And I don't generally get to do like, I guess because I'm still kind of sound like a baby sometimes. So I don't really tend to play more mature roles. So it's fun to sometimes be things like teachers and moms and such.
Now, are there roles that you'd like to do more in the future?
For sure. I would love to try to, like, one of my favorite characters of all time is Jessie from Pokemon. And I want to play a character like that style character so badly. I love her. She's the best, right? I love Jessie.
Have you ever seen the show? I can't remember if this came out of Japan or not, but it was voiced by more or less the same voice actors that did Pokemon. Do you remember a show called Dinosaur King?
I've heard the name, but I've never seen it.
Well, the Alpha Gang, basically the antagonists of the first season, the main villains were actually, if I'm not mistaken, she was one of the main villains and had a very similar personality to Jessie.
That's awesome! Okay, I gotta watch this now, or at least see a clip. I love Jessie.
Let's see. She had a thing about being called an old lady, and it didn't matter where you were in the world. If you said it, she would react to it, and she would make her voice heard.
That's hilarious. Good bit.
And for those of you in the chat room, if you're just joining us, thank you so much for tuning in. We're joined by Macy and Johnson. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. We'd love to hear from you guys. A big hello to Sharka, who says, "Oh my God, I love Dinosaur King."
I gotta see this then.
See, Darren, you're not the only one who knows it.
Well, I'll say this. If you grew up with The Land Before Time kind of stuff and had an interest in dinosaurs in general, it plays along really well and expands your knowledge of the dinosaur world.
Which makes me wonder why I never even heard of it before you. Because I grew up with Land Before Time. I'm a huge... Brontosaurus was my favorite dinosaur. In fact, my daughter has the Brontosaurus I had when I was her age.
Aww.
So this thing is really old. But I also grew up with the Never-Ending Story. Which, talk about go back, I'm old.
Well, really quick trivia about The Land Before Time. Did you know that was never intended to be a sequel by the original director?
I didn't know that.
Don Bluth, who did several famous shows, he never intended for The Land Before Time to be a series. I forget, they kind of wanted it to be a series after how popular the first movie was, and he basically didn't have a part in any of the following seasons. Because I don't know if you noticed, but the art style in general just seemed more attention to detail in the first movie than the rest of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed that it kind of got lackluster after the first one, which seems to happen when you have a long-running series.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be movies or whatnot, like the Police Academy series, and I know I'm going back in time for that, but the first couple of Police Academies were really, really good. Once they got to 5, 6, 7, made a cartoon and did all sorts, it's like you guys just killed it. You butchered a good thing.
Mm.
Nowadays, we call that Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball, One Piece, Naruto, My Hero.
Speaking of which, you really need to catch up on Slime for the simple fact you have a dragon weeaboo. Veldora goes full Dragon Ball, Street Fighter, and then some.
That's funny.
I will, like I said, we definitely plan on watching it, but where we watched the first half of season 2 together, I don't want to just start that without her. I want to be the nice guy.
I know. That's why I'm not giving you full-blown spoilers.
or a whole lot of crap because I haven't started it yet.
True. You about to say, if I were to give you crap about stuff you haven't started, you would just give it right back to me with the stuff that I haven't started. So
Mashima Resh.
It's an even trade-off.
I know. If I was going to give you crap about shows, it'd be like you still need to check out Show by Rock, Mashima Resh, because that's the best of the franchise.
Well, props to your wife for actually binging a good series the other day.
Oh, yeah. She said that it made her want to flip tables. I forget the name of the show.
Scum's Wish.
Scum's Wish. And she was like, I don't know if you'd like that one or not, but it was good. I just didn't like the ending.
Well, Macy, you said you grew up with SpongeBob. Have you heard of Aho Girl?
No. Wait. Aho Girl. I'm looking her up.
Aho Girl is an interesting anime. We actually did a review show about that. We all watched it recently and did a review.
I've never seen Aho Girl.
I would say watch it, but don't get your expectations up too high. Watch it as entertainment, not as like a Dr. Stone or something where you're going to get something out of it. Think of it more as Pop Team Epic, Fooly Cooly, Chiho School Road type of anime.
Okay. I love that kind of stuff. Goofy.
About to say, plus they're 8-minute episodes, so it's a really easy series to get through.
Aho Girl. Okay.
And hide your bananas.
Yeah.
I know when I looked at pictures, it's all her and bananas, and I'm like, what could this possibly be?
This girl is so stupid, but she knows bananas.
She's the human embodiment of the Minions, according to Doug.
That's hilarious. Okay, gotta see it. See it.
And I told my wife that she needs to draw the main character with minions and bananas just because of the infatuation they both have.
Yes. That's awesome.
And, God, it's like I had questions and we got talking about Aho Girl and stuff and my brain went...
Well, that's what she does to you, and I'm sorry.
Sometimes that's what you do to me. And I can't even blame a window because even though there's a window on this side of the room, it's behind me. Back when we first started the show, I lived in Massachusetts, and I had a window right beside, and I suffer from shiny object syndrome really, really bad.
And didn't you have a train track next to you, too?
Oh, no.
No, the train track is here. Sometimes you'll hear it. It's about a block and a half behind me, and I'm a huge railroad fanatic.
Oh, cool.
So it's like, okay, I know the Canadian Pacific Railroad runs like, a block and a half behind my house. I can't see them from the house, but they go by my work too.
Mm-hmm.
And so at work, I get to watch trains and play with Fords. As I work for a dealership as a mechanic.
Nice.
And then Darren sends me messages asking about how to fix his truck.
There you go. Important knowledge.
And I had a question, and I can't think of what it was. Good God, that bugs me. And it's like, I swear I've done this before. She knows she was on the show and we had a lot of fun, and all of a sudden it's like, Now, I know you're talking about when you get to a convention, you're interested in like checking out like Dealers Room, Artist Alley. Are you a big fan of different artwork and things like that, or?
I love like seeing art on Twitter and stuff like that. I've never really been to something where I could like buy any of it, but yeah, I'd be super excited for something like that.
And when you finally do get to conventions as a guest, do you have ideas of which characters you want to have made out so that you have the characters at the table to sign for fans and
stuff?
I
have 2 prints made. I have a Hoenn and I have Swindler from Akudama. So I think I'm going to try to list them online somewhere. So hopefully, like, if someone's interested, they could get one if they wanted. But those 2 for sure, and I probably want to get a Chiyuki done as well.
Which I would, like, right off the top of my head, it's like, okay, I definitely need to get a Hoenn. And Chiyuki probably as well, because that's one of the most underrated shows that I have seen in a long time. That it just blew me away. I went in with expectations, and it was nothing like I thought. So if you're out there and you enjoy shows that are educational, they teach you about something that you may not even realize you have an interest in, and it gives you a more in-depth and especially intense, like that first show for Smile Down the Runway, when somebody didn't show up and now they got to make alterations for your character.
Oh,
and
yes.
the craziness of going on behind the scenes, that if people in the fashion world, if you're just sitting out there waiting for the models to come out on stage, you have no idea what's going on, how crazy it is behind the screen there.
For sure. It was so cool to get. I love things that like give you an inside view into the like workings or backstage or something. One of the episodes that I thought was like that like affected me the most is when she goes to that commercial shoot and Kokoro's like the main character who's getting like, or the main model, I guess, and they put Chiyuki in the back with a mask covering her face. And it's like, oh, dang, I've seen a million, like, real photo shoots like this with people in masks, but how hard that must be as a model to not be seen. Like, dang.
Yeah, especially nowadays. Like, I know at Kineticon there was a lot of group photos of cosplayers and stuff, but they had a mask mandate in place in the state of Connecticut.
Oh, yeah.
So now, hats off to the people who are able to incorporate masks with their costumes, which there was a lot of creativity there. I will say that. I mean, we had no issues wearing the masks all weekend. We were lucky enough. Our daughter went with my family in Pennsylvania. A lot of driving. It took us about 10 hours for something that should have taken like 4.5, just because we had to go meet them around Binghamton, New York area, because they live in Pennsylvania. So it's like 4.5 hours there, and then it's supposed to be 4 hours from there to Hartford, but obviously a stop for food in Binghamton and things of that nature. But it was really nice to see the different types of things going on. And I remember when you were on with us last for the Mashimai Rush special, you had a special signing event that was going on.
Yeah, we did it. It was fun.
How did that go? Was it a big success for all of you? Or?
It was really cool, and I had a good time. It was my first time ever signing anything, so that was exciting. But me and Emmy, we did ours together, so we were like on the same stream, which was nice and like made me less nervous. And then yeah, I shipped them off, and everyone like tweeted me pictures of their prints and stuff. It was really cool. I had a good time. It was like a good first time doing that stuff.
And I laugh because since we have switched from Blog Talk to YouTube, we do not have any show IDs because I need to put the IDs we've gotten in the past to video. But would you be all right to do a show ID for us as how on the air?
For sure. What does that exactly show ID mean?
A show ID is hi, like basically it would be something along the lines of, hi, this is Hawan from Show by Rock Mashimai, and you're watching Anime-Zing Radio on YouTube.
Yeah, okay, I can do it right now.
If you'd like to.
What does Hoenn sound like? Jeez. Maybe I might need a couple takes. Let's see. Hi, this is Hoenn, and I'm here with Anime-Zing Radio on YouTube, and I'm really excited.
No,
is that what she sounded like?
I'm trying to.
And she said, Himeko?
I am going to cheat, and I'm going to pull up the app on the phone so we can hear Hawan.
I've been Shoda-ing too much and thinking about little boy voice. How do I play a girl?
Show by Rock Mashimai, Season 1. Of course, we have to turn the sound up. And as people are watching this live going, what in the world is going on here?
You're running.
Start with this right now. Miss Ryu, you're not normal, are you? What? Hey, while we're at it, where the heck were you, Delmine? Well, last night I was busy. Thank you for your support, Onigiri Bear Man. I'm sure it'll all be okay.
Yes,
Just
Emmy.
one final push, I was making matching good luck charms for everyone to wear. Oh, I've got them. You'll get yours when I see you. I'm sorry.
Of course.
We overslept too, so don't be so hard on yourself, okay?
Yeah, we ended up sleeping in because we were off talking.
That was how one.
Okay, I'm ready now. Okay, I feel it.
All right, whenever you're ready.
Hey, this is Hoenn from Show by Rock Mashimai Rush, and you're watching/listening to Anime-Zing Radio on YouTube.
Is it fun to jump back into some of the voices you've done in the past, and knowing that there was Show by Rock Stars, which came out in Japanese, where I am waiting, anxiously waiting for that to get dubbed, because it brings back a lot of bands. I know Megan did a phenomenal job with Masha Myresh, especially with the amount of bands that had already been put out in the earlier seasons of Show by Rock. And so she had to find people who weren't already in bands that weren't afraid to sing.
Yeah.
Which was a process in and of itself, which I'm sure that you were excited to be able to sing in an anime, especially being an anime. Not many get the permission for English dubbing.
Yeah. No, it was very exciting, and I'm hoping that we get to do Stars someday.
And because I'm trying to think, I don't even think Love Live got English dubbed for the singing.
I don't think so either. I'm not totally sure, but I don't think so from what I've seen of it.
So being able to be a part of Masha Myresh and get to sing and stuff like that, did it take you a while to learn the lyrics for the songs? Or?
And we had harmonies, but Megan, being the best, sent us harmony tracks of everything of her singing that we could listen to. I downloaded them all to my phone and would play them in the car and stuff. So she was super helpful. But yeah, it did take a minute to learn those.
I know that I know from experience, because a radio show that I was a co-host on, we had created a fake persona called Doogie Stardust.
Oh yeah.
Where we did, this was back, this was actually pre-Anime-Zing Radio, so we're going back about 8.5, 9 years now, where we would, our booking producer would write the lyrics. I would sing the lyrics based off of different songs. The first song was Ground Control to Major Tom. We did a spin-off of that. And I would sing it, and then the host, Scott Hare, would edit it. Unfortunately, I don't have any of those songs anymore.
Where did they go?
I have to... The old computer that had them on there, the hard drive crashed, and I never saved anything. And Scott, I think, still has them all, but I haven't gotten them from him, and I've asked him a few times. But he lives in Connecticut. He works a ton, too, and we haven't talked a ton since Hazy Radio closed down, and I switched off to Blog Talk for about 6 years, and now we're here on YouTube. So we've gone... I look back now, and it's man, we've been on quite the journey.
For sure. I think, though, that you should make some new songs, Anime-Zing theme song, perhaps.
Maybe. I mean, we do have friends who are great musicians. Our sponsor, Gavin Goska with Home Circle Media, is also a musician. I don't know if you've heard of Midnight Syndicate.
I don't think so.
But they do some gothic horror type music.
Very cool.
If you've ever been I know that some of their music has been played at haunted houses through some of the more well-known amusement parks, like the Six Flags parks and Disney. I think has
very cool.
They also have done live performances at Cedar Point in Ohio a few times around this time of year for the last few years, pre-COVID and whatnot. And their music's fantastic. They've got at least 20 albums out.
That's very cool.
They're also, to my knowledge, the only official Dungeons and Dragons soundtrack. So if you like the RPG side of things, we've actually been lucky enough to have Gavin on the show once performing music live.
Interesting. That is so cool. Huh.
So I think it might be fun to try to figure out how to get a new theme song or opening song or something for the show. Maybe we get him to do some music, and we'll be like, Macy, you want to sing this for us?
Sure, I will.
She's like, I like singing.
True.
Wouldn't it be interesting to have a special with all the voice actresses that actually sing?
I don't think I'd be able to have that many guests. I think we're limited to 10, and I know Caitlin Glass sings. I know Bryn sings. Megan sings. Morgan Berry sings. Emmy does music. Macy sings. Lindsay sings. I mean, we'd have a ton. We'd have to try to reach out to like Tatum, who sings, and Brandon, and too many of them.
A very musical bunch.
Show by Rock has, God, what, they got like 10 or 12 bands at least in there, and each one's got like 3 to 4 members.
Oh yeah, there's so much. It's such like a thorough world they've created.
That's one thing that's kind of neat about the anime side of things. I think it's one thing that got me into anime, like watching Inuyasha and the storyline of, okay, this modern day girl falls in through a well and goes back to the feudal era Japan, and it's like somebody took the time to come up with this concept and create it. And I grew up on Tom and Jerry, where it was different goofiness every episode, or Looney Tunes, Daffy Duck, the Disney characters with Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse and stuff like that. So I grew up on a lot of the older cartoons. I know of some of the stuff out now. SpongeBob and Phineas and Ferb was a great one. Classic. I will still watch that if I find episodes, because that was highly entertaining. One that my youngest daughter likes to watch now is Bluey. I think it's Australian.
I don't know that one.
But it's on Disney Plus. And the episodes are really, really cute, and there's some really good comedy in there for the adults. So, seeing how in-depth, as you were mentioning before, Macy, some of the storylines are so in-depth.
Oh, yeah.
They draw you right in. And I think that's one thing that I love about the anime that we watch, is the storyline is so intense in some cases.
Mm-hmm. It's just like totally different universes too, and that seems so filled out. There's no stone left unturned.
No stir, I like that.
No stir left unturned.
No stir left untoned. that would be how I probably would have said it.
No, but I totally agree. That I feel like, because that's something a movie, would have a harder time achieving, is that immense world building you can get with all these episodes.
Oh, definitely. And now, knowing that there's so many shows out there, a lot of ideas have come out. What are some of the show concepts that you've enjoyed? Is it some of the romances where it's like you like him, he likes her, just like get together already, but something always happens? My wife calls those flip table animes.
What's like my favorite kind of thing? I don't know. I love the action stuff sometimes, and I love the romance stuff sometimes. I kind of like everything. I know I always get the ones that like tickle me the most, I guess, are like Azure Lane. The concept for that is like, they are girls and they are boats. I have a character in Azure Lane, and she's also a cat. So like that kind of thing, it just makes me like, that tickles me so much. I think that is so much fun. Like getting to do all these like super like crazy intertwined things. Whenever I see a concept like that, I'm like, yes, do it. Make this show.
Now, if you could come up with your own idea for an anime, what would it be?
Gosh, I don't know.
I know, we put you on the spot on that one.
What would it be? I guess I would want to write something funny and with romance and also action. That sounds like a lot of things. A lot of shows could do that, but those are my favorite parts. And I love things that are set just a little bit in the future. I think Show by Rock does a good job of that, of being like, I don't know what time period this is really happening in, but it might just be like a little bit in the future. That's like my favorite time period for things to happen.
And knowing that you like stuff that's like a little bit in the future, do you like some of the mecha shows? Or have you seen Clockwork Planet?
I haven't seen Clockwork Planet. I love like Cowboy Bebop. Like where that show is set, I think is so exciting. Like simultaneously, these like things from the past and the future are all meshing into this big, thing. I love stuff like that.
I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time since I watched Clockwork Planet, but I know that I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was Anthony Bowling's first directing job.
Oh, cool. Well, he is very talented, so I'm sure it's great.
And I think I only watched it because he directed it. And, we love the work that Anthony's done as a voice actor. And after that, I fell in love with a lot of the stuff he's directed as well. And the concept of it is a world that is that somebody created where everything is like run like a clock. There's gears everywhere. Everything is specifically timed, and
that's cool. The art is awesome.
Oh. I forget I'm trying to remember. I might be Skylar McIntosh who voices like one of the main females in that show.
It looks super interesting.
And I'm trying to remember.
What show?
Clockwork Planet.
What about it?
Trying to remember who voiced. Okay, yeah, it was Skylar McIntosh. She voiced Marie in that, and at one point, she has to scream out, "I'm a virgin" during the show. And it's like that. I forgot the premise, but that like, it's funny how some shows just certain points would just stick in your head.
Mm-hmm. I've had to scream that out too. In Akudama Drive, you can watch it and find out when.
Now, are there times and shows that you've worked on where you felt uncomfortable with some of the scenes? Like, I know Shota gets embarrassed a lot by Lukua. Some of the stuff she's done ever made you feel a little uncomfortable to voice it, or?
I feel like at this point, just like experiencing and just like watching as a fan as much anime as I have, I'm not easily offended or fazed by much of the stuff that goes on, especially like the Lukua type antics, that kind of stuff. I'm like, yep, that's what characters like this do,
Oh, go ahead, Darren.
No, let her finish. I was gonna bring up one of our favorite shows after that, since she said anything.
Wait, you bring it up.
Interspecies Reviewers.
Oh, I have seen an episode of it because I was just so curious. It's funny.
I will say this. I have seen it in its entirety. There was only one episode in that whole series that made me a little uncomfortable, and that was the egg laying episode.
Oh, well, that sounds terrifying.
It was.
But the series in a whole was more comedy.
Okay.
Yes, there was a lot of sexuality in there, and a lot of scenes in the edited stuff were blacked out.
Yeah.
And I know it caused a lot of controversy of, is this anime? Is it hentai?
Mm-hmm.
It walked that thin line. And I can understand both sides of the argument. Personally, I enjoyed the anime for what it was. It was a creative way of expressing a deep, dark fantasy a lot of otaku feel when it comes to what would it be like to hook up with a fictional character of X genre.
Yeah.
Is it a cat girl? Is it a demon girl, the slime girls, or the puppets, or whatever it may be? It was a fun way of kind of fantasizing a little bit. It was taking your normal otaku, weeb, whatever you want to call us as anime fans, and kind of making one of those dreams come true in an anime form without it feeling too weird. Which, unfortunately, because of the way that they put things, and I know the anime turned out a lot more explicit than the manga did, which is why companies dropped it like Funimation.
Sure.
And many Japanese networks dropped it off their TVs.
Mm-hmm. It's just they didn't predict how graphic it was going to be.
From my understanding, even the novel wasn't that graphic.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, did you order the limited edition pre-order yet, Doug?
I have not. With basically with the bills that have come in the conventions that have started up, and we've got one more that we're hitting in October, plus Christmas and our youngest daughter's birthday is in November. We are going to try to budget money out to fit everything in.
Yeah.
But we do still plan on going after at least a copy of Interspecies Reviewers because I still want to cosplay Stunk at some point.
Man.
My cosplay list has grown. And this is going to be my first crossplay, but it's a safe one to do because she's in a bear outfit.
Yeah, anybody can rock a bear outfit.
It's a big fluffy bear outfit. I just need to get the big blue-haired wig.
Heck yeah.
And I could wear whatever I want to underneath of it, and all I'd have to do is just change it. You could go back to the hotel at night and change it from black to white, and even the bear head on top is sleeping for the pajamas. So yeah, I think that would be. I'm gonna be overheating in that because I get hot easily. We were back to the temperature stuff we were talking about earlier. Maybe
some ice packs in there. I hear that's what they do at Disney World.
Either ice packs or cool suit, or we can talk to some cosplay. Actually, we could talk to our cosplay friends Hitake and Sahara, who make mecha and full-bodied outfits, but they also figure out how to incorporate fans and stuff in there.
Nice.
So maybe we can get ideas from them on how to put a fan or two in there.
Yeah, that's smart.
Or I could just use it as like a steam bath and lose like 20 pounds over the weekend. Yeah.
2 alternatives.
Well, if I were to try and lose weight, I'd disappear.
Yeah, there's not much to you, Darren. I could give you some of mine, but...
Look, you'd think after working in fast food for almost 8 years, I would have gained something, but if anything, I've lost weight.
I'll tell you this. From my experience of working in the food industry as delivery driver for pizza, delivery driver for Chinese food. Granted, Chinese food I'll never get tired of, but I lost it after 3 years or 4 years of working for Domino's. When I moved to upstate New York, I wanted nothing to do with pizza anymore. And then a local pizza shop, we tried them for the first time, and it was poutine pizza, which is a Canadian thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of poutine, Macy, but it's French fries, gravy, and cheese curds.
Okay.
And it's a Canadian dish. I'd never heard of it before a convention that we went to up in Maine, and they're like, "Oh, you've never heard of poutine? Okay, get 2 plates for this table. I'll pay for it." Our friend Johnny C paid for it, and oh my God, it was amazing. And then here in town, they actually put it on pizza. They put it on mac and cheese.
What? Okay, I gotta find where I can try that near me. That's
good luck. Good luck down south. But if we can get you up here, and
then we can try it.
one of my goals with the show is at some point is to have the money where we can go to a convention and provide a guest ourselves of Anime-Zing Radio.
Mm.
That's one of my dreams of doing with this show, because I started, as many of our fans who've listened to us for years know, I started the show as a way to give back to the anime community. Anime helped me get through a messy divorce. I know it helps a lot of people get through tough times, different things going on in their lives. Many anime fans, including my wife, suffer from things like social anxiety, a lot of people with depression and stuff of that nature. And anime is a way of people to escape reality, even if it's just for 25 minutes for an episode or a couple hours to watch a few episodes of a series. And I wanted to do this show as a way to give back to the community, because it helped me. And if I can get fans out there to connect with the voice actors who voice the characters they love without having to pay the money to go to a convention, without having to pay for a hotel and tickets and things, because let's be honest, some of these conventions are really pricey.
Yeah.
Some of the autographs are up there. Like, I learned that pop figure autographs, some of them were charging, like, to sign the sleeve of a DVD was $30. To sign a pop figure for a couple of people were above $70.
Wow.
And that's if you brought the pop figure.
I wonder why. That's interesting.
And if we can get people to connect and be able to talk with the voice actors that they like, if we can make one person happy, then I've done my job with the show and giving back to the fans of anime. And I know with our third jump to a new platform, jumping over to YouTube now, I feel like we have to start over. But I'm hoping this will help grow the community and people get to enjoy shows and get to enjoy learning about you, the voice actress who voices characters like Hawan that I love personally, and a lot of people love the work that you've done. But you are one person. You can't go all over the country at the same time to visit every fan. But stuff like us, Color World Books with the virtual shows that they've put on, some of the virtual conventions bringing guests on, I think it's a great way for the community to branch out to a worldwide product, not just localized at a convention.
Yeah, no, I think I really respect that. I think that's great.
And so that's one reason why I always thank you. Sometimes it feels like I thank you too much for coming on and hanging out with us, because we really do appreciate that you guys take the time to come and hang out with us.
No, well, thank you so much for having me. It's so fun to talk about this stuff, and with people who care about it, and it's really exciting. It's super fun.
And obviously, I don't view myself as a celebrity or anything like that. I'm a normal guy. I work as a mechanic, and this is something I do for fun. But it's always fun to get to find out more about your world as a voice actress. And, some of the other voice actors we've had on, like I know Giovanni is a Hollywood actress. She's got movies coming out and things like that. Knowing that you're into the theater world, I think Alex Moore's also done theater. Danny Chambers has a theater background as well. Have you been able to work with any of them in the theaters world, or is that something you'd like to?
I'd like to, and I hope that I'll get to soon with the theater opening back up, and I'll be graduating college and entering, the big markets and stuff like that, or hoping to.
And have you been able to take stuff you've learned from the theater world and incorporate it in the voice acting, where I know it's two different worlds, it's two very different types of acting. In theater, you can express the characters through body language and things like that, where as a voice actress, you've got to make an inanimate character who can move around come to life using only your voice.
For sure. I found there to be a ton of crossover for me. I think voiceover, the isolation of just my voice, being my only tool to use, as on my person, has made me way stronger in theater, made my voice way stronger there too. But all of the things like acting theory and technique and strategies that has pretty much had complete carryover into voiceover, just acting honestly and trying to play these characters authentically, which is, hard to do when your characters are super stylized and heightened, like so many of the anime characters are, but just trying to play them how the character would want to be played, and honestly, I think has had a lot of carryover.
Now, for our fans out there who want to know more about you or find ways to contact you, or I know you said you're going to figure out a way of getting some more merchandise out there for autographs, things like that. Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, I'm most active on Twitter. And if you go to my Twitter, you can find my website and Instagram and all that stuff. But it's at Macy Ann, but it's MacyYyYanne.
Awesome. And we are almost out of time here, but I wanted to ask one more question because I love the acting side of things. I'm a big fan of improv acting.
Oh, I love improv.
Is that something that this whole show is improv? As our fans out there know, we don't plan anything. I might write notes down during the show, but a lot of times I go into these shows with no plan. As evident when we first started with me hearing myself and not knowing why.
Hey, technical difficulties.
And that I can't even blame that on anybody but myself. Having I forgot that I had the website up so I could share the link. It was like, whoopsie.
No, makes sense.
Did you ever watch Whose Line Is It Anyways?
Mm-hmm. I've seen Whose Line, and I'm actually in an improv group. I have been for the past 4 years or something like that. I love improv.
I would love to see some of the improv that you do. I love the improv side of things. When I was with my ex-wife, we did see Brad Sherwood and Colin Mockery improv live at the Landmark Theater in Syracuse.
Very cool.
And I have no acting experience, like I mentioned before, but I think it would be fun to improv stuff.
Yes.
I think that would be a lot of fun because it's very expressive, and obviously I'm not afraid to make a fool of myself.
Me neither.
And
no, you should do it. You should totally try if there's any groups near you. That's so fun.
I don't think there are, but I mean,
Someday.
it's something that, like, I would love to learn, like, the art of voice acting. Like, I don't know anything about it other than what I've learned from talking with you and other voice actors that have been on the show, but it's something I would like to try.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. I want to try a lot of stuff, but
For
know
sure.
little about anything.
I feel the same way.
I'm an Aries. I want to know a little about everything and a lot of nothing. So
yeah, there you go.
that's why my hobbies are all over the board. Everything from anime to trains to disc golf to ghost hunting.
You got it all covered.
Pretty much, I'm all over the board. But we are just about out of time. I just heard the clock ring for 10 o'clock. I want to thank everybody out there for tuning in. Thank you to Macy Ann Johnson for joining us tonight. It has truly been an honor to have you here with us again. Of course, thank you to the co-host with the most, Mr. Darren Starling, for hanging out with us as well.
I didn't fall asleep this week.
That's because Macy was here. You didn't want to look bad.
Pretty much.
Anthony, next week, I guarantee he'll fall asleep because, it's Anthony. No rebuttal to that?
Nope.
And again, thank you to our sponsors, Home Circle Media and Casey Fox, for all of your cosplay commission needs, photography needs, and if you're looking for some artwork commissions, be sure to check out Casey Fox. That's KAYCIFOXX on Facebook and Instagram. My wife has decided she is going to step away from vending for a while. She wants to focus more on making the cosplay side of things. She wants to do the artwork more for fun, but she is open to commissions. So if anybody out there is looking for a commission, be sure to reach out to Casey Fox on Facebook. That's usually the easiest way to get a hold of her. And I know she'll be happy to hear from you out there. Until next week, when we have Anthony Bowling joining us, and we'll get to reconnect with that crazy old guy. I say if he watches this, he's going to yell at us, but that's okay. I can still give him crap because he was 30 minutes late to a show because he left his phone in the car.
That's funny.
So until next week, when we have Anthony on the show with us, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Enjoy watching the shows. A lot of great stuff out there. Be sure to check out all the shows that Macy is a part of, including Show by Rock, Mashimaresh, Aforeta, Akudama Drive. Any other personal favorites of yours, Macy, for them to check out?
Smile Down the Runway. Why not?
Of course, Smile Down the Runway. We've talked a lot of that one as well, and World Witches. So until then, have a wonderful week, and we will see you all next weekend here on Anime-Zing Radio.